everybody, Legend for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new archetype analysis. This time around, we are talking about the third and final deck from Booster Pack Destiny Soldiers, Darklords. Darklords are a really awesome Dark Fairy archetype of really high stats and focusing on bringing back their creatures from the graveyard and getting bonuses off of that and stuff. And really just manipulating the graveyard on their side. Not so much the opponent's side, but more so theirs, and just kind of getting a whole bunch of bonuses for having stuff in the graveyard. It's a very, as you can tell, graveyard-reliant deck, and it works really well. It has potentially 9 draw cards, with 1 in Archetype, and then triple trade and triple allure, which is just crazy. But despite 9 draw cards, this deck does have consistency issues. With opening too many big monsters and not being able to do anything, or drawing too many spells and traps, not being able to do anything. The deck has those issues, but however, it's still a very good deck, and once it goes off, it can make some stupid huge plays. So, first and foremost, let's actually get on to talking about the monsters. So, first and foremost, the arguable boss monster of the deck, Darklord Morningstar, or as he was called in OCG, Darklord Lucifer. Now, one thing I do want to say about the name is that if you're wondering where they got Morningstar from Lucifer, I did some research, and Morningstar is another name for Lucifer. So, like, they didn't really change the name, they just changed which name they were going with, if you want to get technical. But anyway, so, like everybody in the archetype, he is a Dark Fairy. He's level 11, 3k by 3k, cannot be special summoned. That's the big hindrance to this card right there. If this card is tribute summoned, you can spell summon Darklord monsters from your hand and or deck up to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. While you control another Darklord monster, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Once per turn, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Darklord monsters on the field, and if you do, gain 500 life points for each Darklord card sent to the graveyard by this effect. Now, one thing I do want to say that I think is hilarious that I just noticed while I was reading this again, he counts all Darklord monsters on the field. So if you're in the mirror match and you and your opponent both have like your entire monster zone lined up, you can send up to like 10 cards from your deck to the graveyard, and that is crazy. So this guy is really good, and I personally really like him. A lot of people don't really like him too much because he is a 2 tribute monster and he cannot be special summoned. But however, he is well worth it in my personal opinion because of just how stupid he can be if your opponent has a semi-decent field. So let's say you're doing against, I don't know, metal foes, okay? It doesn't matter which variant, but let's say they have, for instance, an Orihawk and Adamante, well, no, yeah, an Orihawk and some other Xyz and fusions and stuff, and they're all effect monsters, and totaling about 3. You tribute summon this guy, you can special summon 3 Darklords from your hand or deck. And most Darklords have, like, incredibly high attack power. So, generally speaking, you're going to be able to beat over everything they have, which is just really good. And you wouldn't even care about Orihawk's destruction effect because they could not target Morningstar. Just like how they couldn't target it with, like, a Fiendish Chain, Breakthrough Scale, anything. So long as you have another Darklord card, monster, other than itself. Really useful. The life point gaining is very good. Granted though, you never know how much life points you're gonna get because you never know how many Darklord cards you're gonna mill off. But however, the life point gaining is really integral to this deck because 4 of their monsters have the ability to pay 1,000 life points, target a Darklord Spell Trap card, use the effect of that Darklord Spell Trap card, and then shuffle it from the graveyard back into the deck. So you're going to be paying a crap ton of life points in this deck, so being able to gain some life points back off of Morningstar is really helpful. I really like this guy a lot. I just wish this deck had easier to do tribute fodder and stuff. Next up is Darklord Desire. This guy is level 10, 3k by 28. He was arguably the boss monster before Morningstar came out, but I would disagree with that statement, as Desire is honestly not all that great. So, he cannot be special summoned like Morningstar, which is annoying. You can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 fairy-type monster. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls. This card loses 1,000 attack, and you send that target to the graveyard. So, the nice thing about Desire is that he has a non-destruction effect to just get rid of a monster. So, like, your opponent has a Beals, you target the Beals, it gets sent to the graveyard, Desire loses 1,000 attack points. Well, technically he loses the 1,000 before the monster is sent, but you get my drift. So, really good effect kind of. I don't like the fact that he loses 1,000 attack each time, because that really limits him. You normal summon him, first and foremost, you have to normal summon him by tributing one monster. Which, granted though, one monster is not as bad as 2 for Morningstar, but however, you still have to tribute summon him. Additionally, you gotta lose his attack points in order to get rid of monsters, meaning at max you can get rid of 3 monsters off of his effect. Thirdly, his effect targets. But however, the key thing about it is that it does not destroy, so you can get rid of very annoying problem cards that could not be stripped of battle or card effect otherwise. Really cool, kind of useful, gimmicky effect. I just wish the actual monster tied to the effect was a bit better. Next up is the first of the 4 new cards that have the effects to use the spell and trap cards from the graveyard, and that is Darklord Excel. She is level 10, like Desires, 2,500 attack, 2,900 defense. You can discard, and 1 other Darklord card, draw 2 cards, and then of course it has the during your first turn you can pay 1,000 life points, then target a Darklord spell or trap card in your graveyard, apply that target's effect, then shuffle that target into the deck. You can only use each effect of Excel once per turn, and you can only special summon Darklord Excel once per turn. And that is kind of annoying. All 4 of the new Darklords that came out alongside Morningstar have the second and third effect where you can only special summon it once per turn, and you can pay 1,000 life points to target a Darklord spell or trap card in your graveyard, apply its effect, and then shuffle back into the deck. These 4 new cards being Excel, Tetsukato, the Polka, Nastin, and Amdusk. So the key thing about Excel is that she just gives you so much advantage. The Darklords like being in the graveyard. That is where they want to be for the monsters and the spell and trap cards. So being able to fill the graveyard with her effect is really good. Not to mention, you get to draw 2 more cards. Now the downside obviously is that you only get to use her effect once a turn, but however, that still gives you so much advantage. Not to mention, this deck can make extensive use of Trade-In and Allure of Darkness that it's just crazy. Because a lot of the, like about 3 or 4 of the monsters are level 8, so you can use Trade-In very often. And since everybody's dark, you got Allure of Darkness. That's 9 potential draw cards, and each one gives you 2 cards. So you can really thin through your deck. Not to mention, some people, I don't personally like to play, but some people play Desires in the deck. You know, Pot of Desires. Personally, I don't like Pot of Desires in this deck, but some people like it. So you got even more draw power with Desires. So yeah, this deck has a lot of draw power, but it still has consistency issues, because if you draw too many of the high level monsters and nothing to get them into the graveyard or to search or do anything, you're kind of screwed. But Excel is easily one of the best cards in the archetype. Next up is, okay, I'm going to try my best. Tezcatlipoca. Tezcatlipoca. That is a, I believe, either Mayan or Aztec god of death or something like that. I can't remember. Maybe somebody who knows more about the Sovereign American Indian people, the history and stuff, and will be able to talk about it more, but that's my general understanding of it. Anyway, so he's 2,800, level 9. I really hate the levels of these first 4 or so cards, because if they were all level 8, they'd be so much better, because most of the Darklord stuff from the older stuff was level 8, and that was always one of the big key things about it. So he has really good stats. He's level 9, wish I was level 8. If a Darklord monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can discard this card instead. And then of course he has a standard effect that Excel and the other 2 monsters from the new stuff has. So being able to just save your guys by discarding him is really good. Let's say you have a board of, I don't know, Morningstar, Excel, and Superbia, and your opponent like tries to Regeki you, just discard Tezcatlipoca, and then, hey, look at that, he's in your graveyard, you're able to bring him back, you're able to call to Haunted him back, you're able to do stuff like that. He's really helpful. Not to mention, the first effect of him is not once per turn, so therefore, if you have multiple Tezcatlipocas in your hand, you're able to save your monsters multiple times, which is really cool. I like this guy a lot. Next up is one of the originals, and honestly, in my personal opinion, the original boss monster deck, and he still arguably can be the boss monster of the deck. So this is Darklord Asmodeus. He is a Dark Fairy, level 8, 3k attack, 2,500 defense, really good stats. This card cannot be special summoned from the deck or graveyard. That's the most annoying part of him, but being able to special summon him from the hand is so awesome. So, once per turn, you can send one fairy-type monster from your deck to the graveyard. This guy is a once per turn Foolish Burial for the deck, meaning that he's just able to get so much of your stuff into the graveyard. It's awesome. When this card you control is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, special summon one Asmo token, Fairy type, Dark level 5, 1800 attack, and 1300 defense, and one Deus token, Fairy type, Dark level 3, attack 1200, defense 1200. The Asmo token cannot be destroyed by card effects, and the Deus token cannot be destroyed by battle. So, not only does he allow you to get more stuff in your graveyard, but whenever he dies, he pays for himself, giving you 2 tokens, one with high attack and relatively low defense that cannot be destroyed by card effects, and one with low stats but cannot be destroyed by battle. So he protects you from being destroyed and stuff. And hopefully he'll be like destroyed in main phase 2 or something, so that then you contribute off those tokens for Morningstar or another copy of Asmodeus. I really, really like this card. Being able to summon him from the hand very easily through stuff like Valhalla, Hall of Fallen, or heck, even through Morningstar, because if you have Morningstar, if you use Morningstar's effect and you have Asmodeus in your hand, you can special summon him off of Morningstar's effect, which is really, really cool. And the biggest issue with him is that he cannot be special summoned from the deck or the graveyard. That is the biggest issue, especially the graveyard part. But considering everything that he does, I really don't mind it too much. The biggest problem though is that he's level 8, so if you trade him, so if you use trade-in, you can't get him back unless you use Amdusk effect, who of which we will cover here shortly. So overall, I really do like this card. If he could be special summoned from the graveyard, he'd be a lot better. Next up is Darklord Superbia, one of the other level 8s. He is level 8, 2900 attack, 2400 defense. When this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can target one fairy type monster in the graveyard, except another copy of himself, special summon that target. So, the biggest issue I have with this guy is that he can miss timing. I have had issues where the timing just misses because reasons, and it's annoying. But, however, aside from that, if you play it right and you don't and you know how timing works a lot better than I do, you will be able to really capitalize off of this effect, being able to bring back him off of like a Call to Haunted or something, using his effect, bring back another Darklord, and then you're able to go for rank 8s and stuff. He's really, really, really good, and is one of the key monsters in the deck. Next up is Darklord Serato. Another level 8, 2800 attack, 2300 defense. If you have 4 or more dark monsters with different names in your graveyard, you can tribute summon this card by tributing one dark monster. You can send one dark monster from your hand to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls once per turn during the end phase. If this effect was activated this turn, destroy this card. So not only are you able to just summon him relatively easily if you have 4 more darks in your grave, you won't really ever summon him by tribute summoning. Most likely you're going to be ditching him off of an effect and then bringing him back with like Superbia, Call to Haunted, or something else. So the key thing about him is that he fuels your graveyard by discarding a dark monster, and then he destroys all of your opponent's monsters, allowing you to go for an OTK. And the thing is, he doesn't kill himself right away, he kills himself at the end of the turn, but that won't matter because main phase 2, if your opponent's still alive, by somehow miraculously, you are then able to overlay him with another level 8 4A and XCs. Really, really, really good card. Like, there's literally no reason not to play 2 to 3 of this guy. Next up is Darklord Nastin. Now this guy, he is strangely $20 and I don't get it. So, he is level 7, 2600 by attack and defense. He's a fairy dark, obviously. You can discard 2 other Darklord cards. Special discard from your hand. And then he has a standard effect of Exile and Tetsuketa and Amdusk. So, that's literally all he does. Discard 2 other Darklord cards, special summon them from your hand. That's all his main effect is, other than, you know, the whole pay 1,000 life points special spell and trap card stuff. This is my biggest issue with this guy. Yes, the cards want to be in a graveyard, but you are negging yourself to get stuff into your graveyard and summon a level 7. If this guy was level 8, I'd have less qualms about him, because then you would be able to go into rank 8s more easily. But no, he's level 7. And he's literally the only level 7 Darklord. But at the same time, yes, he fills your graveyard. That's my biggest issue, is that there are better ways to fill your graveyard than negging yourself. Like, I would rather use a trade-in, Excel, anything else than Nastin's effect. Honestly, in my personal opinion, this guy's one of the worst Darklords. I would only play one, if any, of him in this deck, because he is just, you neg yourself so hard. Now, granted though, if you already have a somewhat established board and you have Call to Haunteds and stuff, maybe he could be a lot better, but it's really, really situational, negging yourself to summon him. And I just don't see what people, why this card's a $20 card. Anyways, next up is Darklord Amdusk, level 6, 1800 attack, 2800 defense. You can discard this card and one Darklord card, and target one Darklord card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. And then he has this typical, during either's turn, pay 1,000 life points, target Darklord spell trap card, blah, 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 blah. So, this guy, he's kind of a mixed bag. First and foremost, he is level 6. He's 1800, and then he has 2800 defense. So he's more of a defender, which is okay, I guess. Like 2800 is nothing to laugh at. It's hard to get over for most decks. But however, even then, this deck is a very, very OTK based deck, and generally speaking, you're not going to want to have very much stuff in defense. But on that same note, being able to get back your Darklord cards from your graveyard, your spells, your traps, and stuff, being able to use them multiple times, is really, really helpful. Being able to grab back Asmodeus after he dies, really, really, really helpful. Being able to grab back Morningstar after he dies, really, really helpful. This guy I really do like. He's okay, he's good. Somewhere around there. I don't think he's necessary enough to play 3 of it, but I also don't think he's bad enough to only play 1. I think 2 is really good for most versions of Darklords. Next up is one of the original 3, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but the original 3 are Darklord Asmodeus, Superbia, and then Edda Urai. Funnily enough, these guys were all the YCS prize cards for a while, and I'm pretty sure the YCS prize cards are probably expensive because of the new support. Though maybe not this guy, because he's one of the worst ones. So, he's level 5, 2300 attack, 2000 defense. If this card is spell summoned from the graveyard, it gains the following effect. It does piercing. And it only gets the piercing if it was spell summoned from the graveyard. Yeah, he is not very, very good at all. He's okay. 2300 attack is okay. But there's better cards in the deck to play than this guy. Next up is Darklord Marie, or Marie the Fallen One, as she used to be called, but she recently got renamed to Darklord Marie. Level 5, 1700 attack, 1200 defense, a Fiend, and a Dark. Now, the reason why this one and the next one are Darklord cards is because in Japan, Fallen One and Darklord are the same names, like the way they're spelled and everything, so they're all one archetype and all benefit off the support. And rather than Konami making it to where all this new Darklord stuff says Darklord or Fallen One cards, they just decided to rename the old Fallen One cards into Darklord cards, which I honestly think is a bit better and also gives them more utility. So this is Darklord Marie, Fiend Dark, 1700 attack, 1200 defense, level 5. As long as this card is in your graveyard, increase your life points by 200 during each of your standby phases. I like it how this card is a way to get back life points. As I said, this deck needs ways to get back life points, but 200 during each of your standby phases is not enough to warrant playing it. If it was 500 during each of your standby phases, I could see people making an excuse to use it. But 200? No, that's not good. And heck, even 500 people would probably not play it because it'd take 2 turns and 2 of each of your standby phases. So it'd take like 3 turns just somebody to get back the 1,000 life points I have to pay for these guys. And even then, it's not enough to really keep up with it because you're probably doing it each turn. So yeah, I really feel like that the life point bonus should be like 500 or 1,000. Maybe not 1,000 because that'd be a bit too broken, but it'd be still a lot better than 200. Like you'd have to have multiples of these to really make any impact on your life points. And then we get to the big one, Nurse Reficule, the Fallen One, now renamed Darklord Nurse Reficule. Very dark, level 4. 1400 attack, 600 defense. Any effect that would make your opponent gain life points inflicts the same amount of damage to them instead. Nurse Burn. Oh god. Okay, so she benefits from the Darklord stuff, but you don't ever see her being played in regular Darklords. No, she's got a whole dedicated deck to her, and it's annoying, okay? Really good effect, just being able to just really, really screw over your opponent and just make them hate their life. Okay, now we get to the spell and trap card support. Altar of the Darklords, or Darklord Contact, as it was renamed over here. Special summon one Darklord monster from your graveyard in defense position. You can only activate one Darklord Contact per turn. My biggest issue with this card is that it has to be summoned in defense position. And that is super annoying, like super annoying. But however, being able to bring back any Darklord from your graveyard is really cool. Now the once per turn effect is kind of not really that big of a deal because the Darklords that are able to utilize the Darklord spell and trap cards from the graveyard get around that because they apply the effect ignoring any costs or conditions on it. So for instance, if I use Contact to bring back Superbia effect bring back Exile, then I use Exile's effect to activate Contact from graveyard to bring back my Nastin. I can do that because I'm not activating the actual card, I'm only using the effect, and then the card gets shuffled back into the deck. That is how that really works, and it's really good. Next up is Banishment of the Darklords. Add one Darklord card from your deck to your hand, except Banishment of the Darklords. You can only activate one of it per turn. Again, same principle. You don't care about the once per turn thing. And being able to add any Darklord card, not just monsters, but spell and traps too, is so good. Opening this with like an Exile is so good because you activate this, you grab Superbia, Exile effect, discard her and Superbia, draw 2, and then just go off from there. It is really good. This card is just, it's a Rhoda. It's a Rhoda that covers the entire archetype. You got 16 cards you can search because it can't search itself. That is so stupid. Now then, the trap cards. These are also pretty good. So, Darklord Rebellion. Send one Darklord monster from your hand or face up on your field to the graveyard. Destroy one card on the field. You can only activate one Darklord Rebellion per turn. Again, like with the other stuff, you don't really care about the once per turn thing because you can just use it from grave. And if you do use it from grave, you don't need to pay the cost, so you don't need to send a Darklord, which is really good. And also, you don't mind sending a Darklord because you want your Darklords in the graveyard. On that note, though, this card does not target, so that is something that I just want to note, because that is a really good effect, that it does not target. And targeting is, well, bad in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. Next up is Darklord's Enchantment. This one I don't know if anybody's really playing, but it's really good. So, send one Darklord monster from your hand or face up from your side of the field to the graveyard. Take control of one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end phase. You can only activate one Darklord enchantment per turn. So, the key thing about this card, again, does not target. And if you use it from the graveyard, you don't need to pay the cost. So you're just able to take control of anything. Use it however you want. Yeah, you can use its effect, take control of something, tribute it off for Morningstar, and then just go off from there. That is really good. Now, obviously, you won't be able to tribute off that one monster for Morningstar. You need another one. But however you catch my drift. Really helpful. Very strong card. I like it a lot. Anything that really is able to take control of your opponent's monsters and give you free access to do whatever you want with them until the end of the turn is really good. And then there's one more OCG card that we have not gotten yet, and that is Darklord Ukobak. So he's a level 3 fairy type dark, 700 attack, 1000 defense. If you use normal or special summon, you can send one Darklord card from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of Darklord Ukobak once per turn. That is a really nice effect, being able to flood your graveyard, and honestly, he's kind of like a better Asmodeus because you don't need to tribute 2 monsters or just go through some hoops and hurdles to special summon Asmodeus to get the effect. But however, on that note, you only can use Ukobak's effect once per turn, and Ukobak has very terrible stats. On the plus side, though, his name is fun to say. But however, yeah, he's a pretty good effect. Really like his effect. Also, he is able to send any Darklord cards, so you can send the spells and traps, so you can use them. My biggest issue with him is that, really, honestly, he's going to be cannon fodder for Rebellion and Enchantment, because otherwise you're going to be taking a crap ton of damage from your opponent attacking into it. Now, there are 2 things that I do want to talk about. 2 cards from the anime that have not been printed yet, that I feel like may get printed sometime in the future, since Konami is on this like big craze to try and print every anime card that's like has never got released. So one is from the actual anime, and then the other is from the manga. Or at least I think this is from the anime, this is from the manga. Anyway, so the first is Disgraceful Charity. Trap card. Both players add all cards from their graveyards that were discarded by the effect of a spell card activated this turn to their hands. that can be a very, very scary effect. And as you can tell, it's always treated as a Dark Lord card. So that can be a very, very, very scary effect. You activate Trade-In multiple times, you're able to get back all your monsters. That can be very, very scary, but at the same time, you don't want to get back your stuff from the grave to your hand because you want them in your grave so you can, you know, special summon them. Now, that being said, though, I could see how this card could be really stupid in other decks, like in Dark Worlds. Oh my god, that would be annoying. No, thank you. Please don't. And if this card was to be printed, it would probably get a huge like restriction or activation cost onto it. And then finally, there's Fallen Angel's Bewitchment. So basically, Fallen Angel, fall 1/1. You catch where it goes. This card is always treated as a Dark Lord card. When an opponent's monster declares an attack while you control a Dark Fairy type monster, change its attack target to another monster the turn player's opponent controls. So basically, they attack your Ukobak, you activate this, they now are attacking their Cyber Dragon instead of Ukobak. So that can be really funny and lead some funny plays and stuff. I don't know, again, if this card will ever be printed, but it could be a really decent trap card to just kind of screw over your opponent. So overall, is this deck going to be good? It's already proven it's good. It's already proven that it's good. I don't know if it's tier 1 though. I mean, like, it's really hard to say. Personally, I think it's more of a tier 2 deck. High tier 2 though. The biggest issue with the deck is its consistency. Despite having 9 draw cards, and also a search card that can just search literally 16 cards out of the deck, the biggest issue is the consistency, which is so strange because there will be times where you will just open like Tetsa, Nastin, Amdas, Superbia, and a Zerato. I've been playing Darklords for a solid like month or so now. I'm still missing one Excel, but the deck has consistency issues. Like sometimes you will draw nothing but super high monsters that you can't do crap with, and sometimes you will draw all your spells and trap cards and you won't be able to do anything. Heck, I had one game where I opened 3 of my where I opened 3 of this and 3 of this. That was not good. It was so bad. So yeah, the consistency for the deck is very mixed, I would say. But however, when it does go off, it is so powerful and it can get so many strong boards that makes it really hard for your opponent to deal with, that whenever it does make those strong boards, it can be a solid contender for just going against any deck. I think though, again, really though, the consistency is the biggest issue. So that's my general thoughts on the deck. Let me know, guys, what you think about the deck. I really like Darklords. I tried putting them together years ago before all the new stuff came out, and I loved it then. I still love it now. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys had a great day and enjoyed this video. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and see you all later. Now, then, if you guys want to help me out, or if you guys ever want to get into contact with me, my social links are down below. You will find my Facebook, my Twitter, all that stuff. You will also find my Amazon wish list, so if you guys want to help me out, that would be much, much appreciated. And thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Peace out. Goodbye.